Okay, so I'm just going to give a brief insight into my journey of doing my PhD. I'm in the final sort of throes of writing up my thesis at the moment. So that might give some context to my reply earlier about PhDs being quite stressful. But I want to give you a little bit more context to the journey that I've been through, and more than just the stress, what I've learned in my time here. So I thought the best way to do that would be to sort of discuss my journey and my thoughts along the way, and maybe give some insights into things that I would have done differently and things that I would suggest for people who are thinking about going down the PhD route. So I actually interned in the lab that I did my PhD at for 3 months, and then did 6 months of paid work there in the section of cell biology and functional genomics, the same lab as where Afyong is working actually at the moment. And I would really suggest that to anyone who's thinking about doing a PhD through this scholarship or through anything, speak to the people in the lab, get to know the people in the lab, make sure it's a good choice, because you will be there with them for 3 years, 4 years, you know, and you want to make sure that you've made the right decision. Make a choice of, and try and be involved in determining the direction of the project that you're doing as well. I think that's extremely important. It's something that I might have done slightly differently looking back on it. So just to give that insight going forwards. The first year of a PhD is difficult. It's challenging because it's a very steep learning curve. It's the first time, and people have touched on this already, it's the first time you're expected to do things on your own. No one can tell you the answers. Your supervisor can advise you, but at the end of the day, you should know more than them about the project that you're studying. So you have to be self-sufficient, think in a completely different way to what you're used to. And then as you sort of grow and going into my second year, you become a bit more practically adept. You're better able to apply that critical thinking and to come up with experiments and to do things to test it. And you feel more and more comfortable along the way. So that's sort of the honeymoon period of the PhD. Then the third year is stressful again. So you really feel like you feel a lot more confident, but it does come with that push to get things finished before the end of it. But it's the main thing that I got from my PhD, and it's something which you might not see at points when you're in it, but is a sense of accomplishment. I'm writing up now, and I've done tons of experiments that I'd forgotten about. And when you go back and you look over everything that you've done, you start to realize, oh, I've actually really done something here. So that's my 4th year at the moment. My scholarship was extended a little bit because of the pandemic. So I'm writing up my thesis at the moment, and I'm applying for jobs afterwards. I've actually just successfully applied for a job. So I'll be starting that before finishing my PhD. So that's going to be another stressful time. But what I would say is, one thing to maintain throughout your PhD is perspective. Think about what you want to use this journey towards in the future. I always thought going into it that I wanted to be an academic. I thought that I wanted to be a professor in the future. And through my time, that's changed. But I've made sure that I've been thinking about how I want to apply what I've learned, whether it's in an academic sense or outside of it. I want to apply that to do what I want to do and change the world in my own small way. So that's sort of the general what I've learned and what I'd advise. I also wanted to add a few small points here. The first point, which has also been touched on, is only start a PhD if you're fully committed to it. It's a waste of your time if you're not. It's 3.5 years of your life. And that's why, moving on to the second point, you need to make sure that you take the time to figure out which topic you want to study, and make sure that you sort of get to know your supervisors and develop a good relationship with them before you even start your PhD. Next is to enjoy the PhD environment. It is challenging, but there is a real sense of camaraderie with your fellow PhD students, with postdocs in the lab who have tons of years more experience than you have. And it's the first time you'll be working alongside them almost as peers. And then also supervisors who have been in the academic industry for 20 years. You know, you get a perspective from everyone. And I think it's very important that you sort of appreciate that. And then finally, something that I didn't have and something that this scholarship provides is to seek out advice from other Black and mixed heritage students. You are part of a community here. And yes, unfortunately, it is smaller than it should be. But with scholarships like this, I think it's very important that you take everything that this has to offer and to be part of that community. And then just so it wasn't too sort of heavy, I wanted to give some highlights of my time in my PhD. You might get some nice pictures out of it. You meet some nice people. That'll be me by the time I finish writing my thesis. So, and at the end of the day, you get a sense of accomplishment, and that's something that this is my thesis at the moment. So I'm sort of very happy with my journey, and it's something which will change your life, definitely. So, yeah.